Hello friends, welcome to QApedia and this is our blog qapedia.com. Today the topic that we are going to cover, that is Selenium with JavaScript accessing different elements. So the topics that we will be discussing are Selenium with JavaScript accessing different elements, type of web elements, actions associated to web element, method in Selenium for each action, example for accessing elements, and then summary of the session. So let's start. Selenium with JavaScript accessing different elements. So we had discussed about locators in our last session. So we know that we can use locators to access or locate different type of elements. Now we get a question that how many types of elements do we have in our web application, and the answer is there can be many type of elements. At the same time, we have one more question, that what action has to be performed on which element. So we have two questions, that how many type of elements do we have, and then what action has to be performed on which element. These two questions we will answer in this session. Elements are called web elements because these elements belong to a web application. So web application, web, and then elements, so it is called web element. So how many types of web elements do we have? We have different type of web elements in our web application. It is text area, button, checkbox, radio button, input field, drop down, image. Now what are the actions associated to web elements? For text area, we have to enter some text into it. For a button, we have to click on that button. Checkbox, we have to click on the checkbox. Radio button, we have to click on the radio button. Input field, we have to enter some text in the input field. Drop down, we have to select some value from the drop down. Then image, we have to click on the image. What are the methods do we have in Selenium for each action? So if we want to enter some text in some text area or an input field, then we have a method called send keys. If we have to click on some button, checkbox or radio button, then we have a method called click. If we have to select some value from drop down, then it is click, select by visible text, select by value, and select by index. So these are some methods. So for each action there is some method in Selenium, and these are those methods. Now if we want to understand it properly, then we have to see some example for that how do we access element. So let's see an example for accessing different type of elements in web application. So let's take an example that let's navigate to some e-commerce website. Then when we navigate to some e-commerce website, we click on some element item. After clicking on the item, we add that item to our bag, we add that item to basket. How can we add it? We have to click on that button, add to basket button. Then we have to click on view basket button so that we can see it. Then we have to click on proceed to checkout button, and then we have to enter shipping and billing details, and then click on place order button. So this is a complete script, a complete test script, which tells us that we have different type of elements where we have to click on some element, we have to enter some values in the field and that's how a complete script gets ready. So let's write some automation script for the same thing, so that you will get to know how to access different elements in a website. We will see this practically in our next session one by one. We will see it one by one. So the first thing that we will see click examples. So we will find all those elements where we can click, and then we will click on those elements using click method of Selenium with JavaScript. Second, we will see send keys example. Second, we will see send keys example. So we will find the elements where we can enter some value, and then we'll enter some values in those fields using send keys method of Selenium with JavaScript. Third, we will see drop down example. So we'll find some elements where we have to select some value from drop down, and then we'll try to select some value from drop down using select by visible text method or any other method of Selenium with JavaScript. So we have some method here, like we have a click method, we have select by visible text method, select by value, and select by index. These methods are there for selecting some value from drop down, so we'll use those methods so that we can select some value from drop down. And so that this is how we are going to see how can we access different elements in web application using Selenium with JavaScript. So what is the summary for this session? That we have covered some topics in this session, like Selenium with JavaScript, accessing different elements, type of web elements, actions associated to web elements, method in Selenium for each action, and then example for accessing element. That's it for the session. Thank you.